Welcome to Momentum Mind, where ideas come alive and every story moves you one step closer to the person you want to become. Here we take the world's most powerful self-development books and retell them like immersive adventures so you can feel the lessons, not just hear them. If you're ready to grow, think deeper, and build unstoppable momentum, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Chapter 1: The Boy Who Asked Why. A pale morning light rested over a quiet town surrounded by soft rolling fields and a slow winding river. Inside a small narrow house near the river lived a curious boy named Ray. His hair always looked as if it had just escaped a gentle storm, and his eyes carried a glow that made people think he was always imagining something bigger than what was in front of him. Ray loved asking questions. He asked why the river bent the way it did, why the birds moved in patterns across the sky, why grown-ups worried about things they could not see, touch, or change. Most people answered him with short, tired words, yet Ray kept asking because he felt every question was a small doorway to a bigger truth. One early morning, Ray walked outside to watch the river. Mist rose like silent smoke and drifted around his legs. As he walked, he imagined the mist was a secret messenger from a world beyond his own. The river whispered as if it knew things no one else knew. Ray looked down at its surface and felt something stir inside him. A thought rose like a spark. Maybe the world was full of hidden rules. Maybe everything worked because some secret pattern kept it all together. If he could learn those rules, maybe he could understand everything. Ray's heartbeat grew louder as if pushing him forward. He wandered along the river until he reached an old wooden bridge. At the center of the bridge stood a strange figure, an elderly man wrapped in a long gray coat that fluttered like soft wings. His beard was silver and thin like threads of light, and his eyes showed a calmness so deep it felt ancient. Ray felt no fear, only a pull of curiosity. The old man looked at Ray and smiled, the kind of smile that said he had been waiting. "You want to understand how the world works?" the old man said in a slow, warm voice. Ray nodded. The old man tapped the wooden rail. "Then start with the first truth. You do not know as much as you think you know. The world is bigger, more tangled, and more magical than your eyes can see. If you want to learn, you must begin with honesty about what you do not understand." Ray listened closely. The river below shimmered as if agreeing. The old man continued. "Most people are trapped inside their own thoughts. They protect their ideas as if they were fragile glass. But you must be different. When you see something you do not know, do not fear it. Look at it. Question it. Learn from it." Ray felt the words sink into him like warm rain. The old man raised his hand and suddenly the mist around them thickened. It curled and twisted until it formed shapes. Ray watched with wide eyes as faint images appeared inside the swirling fog. He saw people making choices, then stumbling, then rising again. He saw small successes and painful failures. He saw paths that split in many directions. Each image pulsed like a living memory. "These are patterns," the old man whispered. "Everything follows patterns. People, choices, problems, relationships, dreams, failures, victories. If you learn to see the patterns, you will know what to expect before it happens." The mist shifted again, showing images of storms, waves, mountains, cities, and crowds of people in motion. Ray felt overwhelmed but also thrilled. It felt like standing at the edge of a new world, but the old man's voice became more serious. "Knowledge has a price. If you choose this path, your life will no longer be guided by luck, fate, or fear. You will build your life the way a craftsman builds a bridge. Step by step, using clear principles." Ray did not fully understand, but he felt something in his chest tighten with excitement. He wanted to learn. The old man leaned closer. "First, learn to look at yourself from above. Imagine rising high above your own body, high above your thoughts, high above your fears. From up there you can watch yourself like a character in a story. If you can do this, you will see your mistakes clearly and learn faster than others." Ray tried imagining it. He pictured himself from above, small, quiet, thoughtful, standing in the mist. And for a moment he felt a strange shift inside, as if he truly had risen out of himself. The old man nodded as if he could see into Ray's mind. "Good. Most people cannot even attempt that. But you are not most people." Ray blushed slightly, though the cold mist kept his cheeks cool. He did not feel special, just determined. Then the old man suddenly stepped back. The mist broke apart and flowed back into the river like spilling silver. The wooden bridge creaked softly. Ray blinked and the old man was gone as if he had never been there. Only the echo of his voice remained in Ray's mind, whispering about Pattern's honesty and rising above himself. Ray walked slowly off the bridge, feeling the weight of new possibilities pressing gently on him. The world around him looked the same yet somehow different. Every sound, every shadow, every ripple in the river felt like it carried meaning. Ray realized that if he kept asking questions and looking for patterns, he could understand things no one else noticed. As Ray reached the path leading home, he stopped because something felt unusual. The air hummed faintly as if an invisible force was moving around him. The river behind him darkened for a moment, like a cloud had passed overhead, even though the sky was still soft and clear. Ray frowned and looked back at the bridge. A single small object lay where the old man had stood. Ray slowly approached it. The object was a thin metal disc with strange markings carved across its surface. The symbols curved like flowing water and twisted like growing vines, yet Ray felt he could almost read them even though he had never seen such writing before. The disc was warm in his hand, almost alive. Ray felt a shiver run up his spine. Had the old man left it for him? Was it a sign? Maybe it was a key to something larger. He held the disc tightly and looked around. The river was quiet again, the mist almost gone, yet he had the strong feeling he was no longer alone in his path. Something had begun. Something he could not yet understand, and deep inside him a quiet voice whispered that the old man would return when the time was right. Though Ray did not know whether that thought came from his own mind or from the strange warm disc resting in his hand, he took one careful step toward home, then stopped because he suddenly heard a faint sound behind him, like a whisper carried by the mist. It was too soft to understand, yet it filled him with a sensation halfway between wonder and fear, as if a door had opened somewhere far beyond the river. Ray turned slowly, trying to see where the sound came from, wondering if something was calling him back, and then the whisper came again, a little clearer this time, though still just out of reach. Chapter 2: The Library of Hidden Mirrors. Ray walked home with the strange warm disc held tightly in his hand. The whisper behind him faded, yet something inside him stayed alert, as if unseen eyes watched from between the drifting pieces of mist. When he reached the path lined with tall grass, he stopped again because the air felt different, thicker, heavier, almost expectant. He glanced at the disc. Its markings shimmered faintly like glowing threads. Ray felt drawn toward the old forest that stood beyond the fields. He had wandered near it many times but never felt brave enough to enter because the trees were tall and twisted and the shadows inside clung to each other like living creatures. Yet now something pulled him forward like a soft invisible rope. Ray hesitated, then stepped off the path. As he crossed into the forest, the air cooled. Light filtered through the leaves, forming shifting patterns on the ground. The branches above creaked softly as if whispering secrets to each other. Ray walked slowly, letting his eyes adjust. He felt the disc vibrating with a gentle pulse like a heartbeat, guiding him deeper. After a while he reached a clearing he had never seen before. In the center stood a structure unlike anything he could imagine. It resembled a small round building shaped from smooth dark stone, yet no marks or seams showed where the stones met. Around it hung small shards of polished glass suspended in midair, rotating gently without any strings or support. Each shard reflected not the trees or the clearing but different scenes that made Ray's skin prickle. One shard showed a small child crying after breaking a toy, another showed a person shouting in anger at someone they cared about, another showed a quiet figure sitting alone in regret. Each reflection was vivid, almost alive. Ray stepped closer and felt his pulse speed up. Suddenly the door of the round stone building slid open without a sound. It revealed a hallway filled with soft warm light. Ray took a breath, then stepped inside. The interior looked impossibly large, far bigger than the structure outside. Shelves climbed up the walls, stretching so high that the tops vanished in soft gold haze. Books filled every shelf. The air smelled of old paper, cool stone, and something faintly sweet. But what caught Ray's attention were the mirrors. Dozens of narrow rectangular mirrors hung between the shelves. Each mirror reflected not Ray but a different version of him. He saw a frightened Ray hiding from a difficult choice. A stubborn Ray repeating the same mistake. A proud Ray refusing to listen. A lost Ray wandering without purpose. Ray's chest tightened. He felt as though each version stared directly at him, urging him to learn something he did not yet understand. Then a calm voice echoed across the vast room. You have entered the library of hidden mirrors. Do not fear what you see. These are fragments of you. Reflections of choices you have made or could make. Ray spun around and saw a tall figure standing near a distant shelf. It was the old man from the bridge, though now his coat glowed faintly with silver light. Ray felt relief wash through him. You found the disc, the old man said, nodding toward Ray's hand. Good. It led you here. This place appears only to those who are ready to learn about themselves. Ray looked around again. The mirrors made him uneasy, yet he could not look away from them. They remind me of things I want to forget, he whispered. Exactly, the old man replied. Most people hide from their flaws and pretend they do not exist. But you cannot grow if you refuse to look at yourself clearly. That is why this place exists. Every mirror shows a weakness you must understand before you can overcome it. Ray approached one mirror slowly. It showed him sitting at a wooden table staring at a difficult task. His face twisted with frustration. He saw himself pushing the task aside, choosing something easier. Ray felt a sting in his chest because he remembered the exact moment. He had avoided challenges many times, afraid of failing. The old man stepped beside him. Painful to see, is it not? But also powerful. The moment you accept your flaws, you gain control over them. Ray nodded, though his voice stuck in his throat. The room felt heavier now, yet also strangely hopeful. Come, the old man said. You must learn the first principle. He walked toward a long table covered with scrolls and small glowing stones. Ray followed. The old man lifted one scroll and unrolled it across the table. Words flowed across it like softly moving water, even though no breeze touched the paper. This is the principle of radical truth, the old man explained. If you want to shape your life, you must first see your life clearly. No lies, no excuses, no hiding from mistakes. Truth is not gentle, but it is your strongest ally. When you look directly at what is real, even if it hurts, you gain the power to change it. Ray let the words sink in. He thought about the mirrors and how each reflection pulled feelings from him: fear, shame, frustration, disappointment. But he also noticed something else hidden behind those feelings. A quiet determination. A belief that if he faced these truths, maybe he could become stronger. The old man placed his hand over one glowing stone. It floated up, shimmering. The stone projected an image in the air, showing a man walking through a busy world, ignoring problems that grew larger behind him. People tried to warn him, but he pushed them away. Eventually the problems became too big and crushed him. Ray swallowed hard. That man pretended everything was fine, the old man said. He refused to see truth, and so truth punished him. Do not be like him. Let truth guide you, not blind you. The image faded. Ray stared at the table, deep in thought. What if truth showed something too painful? What if he was not strong enough to face it? The fear whispered inside him like a cold breeze. The old man seemed to sense his thoughts. Strength does not appear before you face the truth. It appears because you face it. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that truth matters more. Ray nodded slowly. He understood, even if part of him still trembled. Follow me, the old man said. He led Ray toward the deepest part of the library, where the shelves grew taller and the mirrors shimmered with sharper clarity. At the far end of the room, a large circular mirror stood alone. Its frame was carved with symbols matching the ones on Ray's disc. Ray felt the mirror pulling him like a tide. He stepped closer, hesitating. The surface of the mirror rippled like calm water, ready to reveal something important. This mirror shows the truth you fear the most, the old man said quietly. But it also holds the key to your journey. Look into it. Ray stared at the shifting surface. His heart hammered. Shadows formed, then cleared, and he saw something that made the room fade around him. He stepped forward, unable to stop himself, drawn toward the rippling image that slowly sharpened, revealing something he never expected, something that made his breath catch in his throat, and the mirror began to glow. Chapter 3: The Mirror That Shows the Future You Fear. The surface of the circular mirror rippled like a pool touched by an unseen hand. Ray's heart pounded as the shimmering shapes inside it shifted and formed clearer lines. The air around him grew colder, and the quiet hum of the library faded until only the echo of his breath remained. Ray stepped closer. His reflection did not appear. Instead, the mirror showed a dim room lit by a single weak lamp. A young man sat at a desk covered with scattered papers. His shoulders slumped. His eyes were dull. His hands trembled as he held a sheet of crumpled notes. Ray's breath hitched because he knew who the man was. It was him. Not now but later. A version of him twisted by frustration and doubt. Ray felt the old man appear beside him, though the old man made no sound. The figure in the mirror dragged his hands down his face. He whispered something Ray could not hear, but his expression showed defeat. A weight pressed onto Ray's chest as if the mirror itself leaned against him. He looks lost, Ray whispered, his voice shaking. That is impossible, you, the old man said gently. Aversion created from fear, ignoring truth, refusing to confront mistakes. If you choose comfort instead of honesty, this is where you may go. Ray shook his head. He did not want to believe it, yet he could not look away. The mirror version of him pushed the papers aside and stared at the wall. No fire, no curiosity, no spark remained. Ray's stomach twisted. He asked the old man, why would I ever let myself become that? Because fear can be quiet, the old man replied. It hides behind excuses, small distractions, tiny lies you tell yourself. Fear grows when you avoid truth. It turns your strengths into shadows. Ray stared harder at the mirror. The version inside looked smaller than he remembered himself to be. Older in a tired way, not a wise way. Ray felt both pity and fear rise inside him like two battling winds. Suddenly the image inside the mirror changed. The same older Ray stood in a crowded place surrounded by voices he ignored. People pointed toward opportunities glowing like floating lanterns, yet he waved them away. The lanterns dimmed until darkness swallowed them. Ray watched helplessly. The old man spoke again. This mirror does not show a fixed future. It shows what your life could become if you stop questioning, stop growing, stop facing the truth. It shows the danger of drifting through life without clear principles. Ray touched the mirror's cold frame. A shiver ran down his arm. I do not want that, he whispered. Then open your eyes and look inward, the old man replied. Accept your flaws. Use them as guides. Build principles to protect yourself from becoming this version. Ray breathed deeply, letting the cold air fill him. He stepped back from the mirror, though its image still burned in his mind. The old man watched him with quiet understanding. You are ready for the next lesson, the old man said. But this one is not found in books or mirrors. You must feel it. A soft rumble filled the library like distant thunder, though no lightning lived here. The shelves trembled slightly as if reacting to an invisible force. Ray looked around alarmed, but the old man raised his hand and the room fell still. The old man pointed toward a narrow archway hidden behind two towering shelves. Ray had not noticed it before, though it felt like it had always been there waiting. Beyond the archway lay darkness, deep and untouched. Walk forward, the old man said. Inside you will find the path of pain and progress. Ray flinched at the name, yet curiosity pressed him onward. Ray stepped toward the archway. The dark space beyond it felt alive. When he crossed its threshold, the air thickened and the library vanished behind him. He found himself standing on a long winding path made of uneven stone. A faint blue glow hovered above the path, guiding him forward. Cold wind howled from every direction. Shadows shifted across the stone ground, forming shapes that resembled memories he did not want to revisit. He saw moments when he had failed, when he had disappointed others, when he had hidden the truth even from himself. The shadows flickered like living creatures trying to pull him down. Ray forced himself to walk. Each step felt heavy. The path twisted upward like a steep mountain trail. His legs burned. His mind screamed to stop, turn back, escape. But something deeper inside him pushed him forward. As Ray climbed the path, he heard whispers around him. Some whispered doubts. You are not strong enough. You will fail like before. Others whispered temptations. Turn back. Rest. You deserve comfort. Ray felt sweat on his palms, though the air remained freezing. Suddenly the blue glow dimmed. The shadows closed in. Ray stumbled as the ground shook beneath him. A deep voice echoed from the darkness. Why continue? You could choose the easy road. The safe road. No pain. No struggle. Ray clenched his fists. Because the easy road leads to the version in the mirror, he said, though his voice trembled. And I refuse that. At his words, the ground stopped shaking. The shadow shrank back. The blue glow brightened again as if proud. Ray continued walking. Later the path split in two. One side was smooth, gentle, lined with warm golden light. The other was jagged, steep, wrapped in swirling dark mist. Ray knew instantly which path was the easy one. The old man's voice echoed in his memory. Pain plus reflection equals growth. Ray stepped onto the jagged path. The stones cut at his feet. Wind roared like a wild animal trying to knock him down. Every instinct screamed to turn back, yet Ray leaned forward, pushing against the storm. At last he reached a plateau where the storm suddenly calmed. In the center stood a tall stone pillar. On top of it rested a glowing crystal pulsing like a living heart. Ray approached it cautiously. "This is the crystal of learned truth," a voice said behind him. Ray turned. The old man stood there, though Ray had not heard him arrive. His presence filled the plateau with calm. "You walked the difficult path," the old man said, his eyes warm with approval. "You faced discomfort and refused to turn away. Therefore you earned this." Ray touched the glowing crystal. Warmth spread through him, rippling across his thoughts. He felt clarity, sharp and bright. Ideas connected. Lessons he had ignored suddenly made sense. The old man nodded. "Now you understand. Pain is not your enemy. It is a signal guiding you toward improvement. Growth comes from facing challenges, not from hiding behind comfort." Ray felt taller, stronger, clearer. The path behind him glowed faintly, as if recognizing his steps. But then he noticed something else. Far below the plateau, a deep swirling fog gathered, forming a shape almost like a doorway waiting for him. Ray frowned. "What is that?" The old man's face grew serious. "That is where your next lesson begins. It is not a place of mirrors or pain, but a place where choices shape reality." Ray watched the fog twist into swirling tendrils. A low hum vibrated through the air, pulling him toward it. "What will I find there?" Ray asked. "Something that will change how you see every decision you ever make," the old man replied. The fog brightened, then cracked open, revealing a passage of shimmering light. Ray took a breath and stepped toward the opening, feeling the world tilt beneath him as the light pulled him in. Chapter 4: The Machinery of Decisions. Ray stepped into the shimmering passage, and the world around him warped as if he were sinking into warm light. The air hummed like distant music. When the glow faded, Ray found himself standing inside a vast room that looked nothing like the library or the misty forest. This place felt alive with movement. Gears of many shapes turned in slow rhythms above him. They hung in the air without wires or support, each one glowing with soft white light. Some gears were wide with gentle curves, others sharp and narrow, spinning like blades. Thin streams of light connected them, making a web so complex Ray felt dizzy looking at it. Each gear clicked in perfect timing, as if following a melody only they could hear. Ray stepped forward. The floor beneath him was smooth metal that reflected his steps like ripples. A cool breeze brushed his cheeks, though there were no windows or doors. The old man stood in the center of the room. His coat flickered with faint silver sparks, as if reacting to the gears drifting overhead. "Welcome to the machinery of decisions," the old man said. "Here every choice you make becomes a shape. Every action becomes a movement. Decisions are never floating thoughts. They are pieces of a larger machine that builds the life you live." Ray looked up again, feeling awe and caution collide inside him. The gears shifted in slow, graceful motions, forming patterns that changed with each click. "Are these my decisions?" Ray asked. "Some yes," the old man said. "Some belong to people who lived before you. Others belong to people you have not met yet. But the machine shows you something important. Decisions are linked. Each one touches another. Even a small choice can shape something far away." Ray walked deeper into the room. As he moved, gears drifted away from him while others moved closer. One gear hovered near his shoulder, radiating gentle blue light. Ray reached out and touched it. A vision burst across his mind. It showed a younger version of him deciding to try something difficult despite being scared. That single decision created a path leading to new skills and new confidence. Ray gasped softly. The gear warmed under his touch, then drifted back into the web of lights above. Another gear drifted down in front of him, this one dark red with jagged edges. Ray hesitated before touching it. When he did, a painful memory flickered into view. He saw himself rejecting someone's advice because he believed he knew better. That one moment closed doors he did not realize existed. The decision echoed through later moments when he struggled alone. Ray stepped back feeling unsettled. I did not know one mistake could spread so far, he whispered. People rarely see the ripples of their choices, the old man replied. But the machine sees them. If you learn to understand how decisions connect, you can shape your future instead of stumbling into it. Ray looked up again. The gear's glow shifted into warm gold light. Something stirred inside him like a small spark ready to rise, the old man continued. The next principle is this. To make good decisions, you must blend two powers. First, the power to see clearly through facts, logic patterns. Second, the power to understand your emotions without allowing them to control you. Ray nodded, though confusion crossed his face. Facts and emotions do not mix easily, he said. That is why most people make poor choices, the old man answered. One side blinds them. Either their feelings control their decisions or their cold logic ignores the truth of their heart. But you must balance both. When you do, the machine responds. Ray watched the gears above. Some spun fast, others slow. A few stood still, waiting for input. The old man lifted his hand and a gear with silver light drifted down toward Ray. This is the gear of reflection, the old man said. Touch it. Ray placed his hand on it. Warmth flooded his body. His thoughts sharpened. He saw how some decisions in his life were made in hurry or fear. He saw moments he never questioned because habits guided him instead of understanding. Clarity continued to flow like cool water through his mind. Suddenly the floor beneath Ray shifted. The metal rippled, then formed a long glowing line stretching across the room. On one end, Ray saw a version of himself acting quickly without thinking. On the other end, he saw himself frozen in indecision, afraid to move. Between the two extremes, the glowing line pulsed with calm light. The old man walked beside Ray. Every person lives between these two extremes, he said. Too much emotion and you act too fast. Too much fear or overthinking and you do not act at all. But here in the center, decisions flow with clarity. You must learn to stand there. Ray stepped onto the center of the glowing line. The gears above reacted immediately. Their clicks grew louder, more harmonious. Streams of light shifted, weaving into new patterns. Ray felt the whole room responding to his alignment. The old man nodded with approval. This is what it feels like when your decisions match your principles. Your life flows. The machine moves with you. Ray looked around in wonder. Can every decision be like this, he asked. Not always, the old man answered. But many can. And the more you practice, the more the machine will obey you. Ray felt pride warming him, but then the gears above flickered. A low rumble filled the room. Ray's breath caught. What is happening? The old man's expression tightened. A decision from your future approaches. A difficult one. The machine is responding. A massive gear formed from swirling shadows drifted downward. It was larger than any gear Ray had seen. Its edges leaked dark mist. It made no sound, yet its presence smothered the light around it. Ray instinctively stepped back. Fear rose inside him like icy wind. The gear stopped inches from his face. Inside its surface he saw something moving, but the shapes were blurred as if covered by storm clouds. The old man spoke quietly. This is a future decision. One that will test everything you learn. It could shape the rest of your life. Ray stared at the dark gear, unsure if he wanted to see more. What if the decision was too heavy for him? What if he chose wrong and ruined everything? The old man placed a reassuring hand on Ray's back. The future is not fixed, he said. But it will challenge you. And to face that challenge, you must learn the next principle. The dark gear suddenly rotated with a slow grinding motion. The room darkened. Gears overhead stopped mid-spin. Silence fell like a weight. Ray swallowed. What is the next principle? The old man looked at the dark gear, his eyes reflecting its stormy surface. The principle of designing your life like a builder designs a structure. You cannot wait for chance. You must create a blueprint. A system. A way to turn your goals into steps that lead you forward. Ray nodded slowly, though shadows still clouded his heart. The old man gestured toward a staircase that formed itself behind Ray, made of golden metal. A soft dim light shone from above. Climb, he said. At the top you will understand how to design your direction. And beyond that the next lesson waits. Ray hesitated one more moment, then stepped onto the first stair. The dark gear pulsed behind him, sending a faint tremor through the room as if warning him that it would return. Ray climbed, feeling the metal warm beneath his feet. The higher he went, the more the darkness below faded. But when he reached the final step, a strange cold wind brushed his cheek. Ray looked up. A doorway stood before him, made of shifting light and shadow intertwined like woven smoke. He took a breath and stepped through, wondering what waited on the other side and sensing that something deeper and more powerful than anything before was about to begin. Chapter 5: The Architect of Inner Worlds. Ray stepped through the doorway woven from light and shadow, and the world changed again, as if he had crossed into a dream that breathed. The air felt warm and thick like honey. The ground beneath his feet shimmered with shifting colors that flowed into each other with slow, gentle waves. Above him the sky was not really a sky but a wide vault of drifting shapes, symbols and glowing lines that pulsed like living drawings. Ray turned slowly, taking in the strange landscape. It looked like a world drawn from someone's imagination, yet shaped with the precision of a craftsman. Floating stairways curved into the distance. Bridges of soft white light arched over nothingness, linking places Ray could not see clearly. Towers grew from the ground, yet their walls moved and changed as if thinking. The old man appeared beside him as silently as always. His coat glowed with soft gold light, matching the colors that swirled along the ground. "This place is called the Architect's Plane," the old man said. "Here thoughts become form and intention become structure. It is where the blueprint of your life begins." Ray looked around again. Everything here felt alive, but not in a chaotic way. Each swirl, each movement seemed guided by some rule or pattern. It reminded Ray of the machinery room, yet this place felt wider, freer, able to hold anything. "Is this world made from someone's mind?" Ray asked. The old man nodded. "Every growth begins with imagining possibilities. Before a builder raises a house, he creates a design. Before a painter touches a brush, she envisions the picture. Before a person shapes a life, they must see the kind of life they want to build. But most people forget this. They chase their days without direction, as if wandering inside fog." Ray breathed deeply, letting the warm air settle his nerves. The dark gear from the machinery room still lingered in his thoughts like a shadow behind his heart, yet this place filled him with a gentle excitement. The old man stepped forward. "Walk with me." Ray followed him across a bridge of shimmering light. Each step produced soft ringing sounds like tiny bells hidden under the surface. Below the bridge nothing existed, only swirling mist that stretched forever. "Where are we walking?" Ray asked quietly. "To the Hall of Intent," the old man said. "It is where you discover what you truly want to build." Ray frowned. "I thought I already knew what I wanted. To understand the world. To learn its rules. To avoid becoming the version I saw in the mirror." "Those are beginnings," the old man replied, "but not a design. A design must be clear. Strong. Something you can build step by step, not just hope for." Ray nodded slowly, though uncertainty tugged at him. The bridge led to a grand archway formed of floating tiles that spun in a slow circle. Beyond it lay a hall so tall Ray could not see its roof. Columns of light grew from the floor like tall crystal trees. Between the columns hung large translucent screens, drifting gently like sheets of thin silk carried by invisible wind. Ray stepped inside and felt a soft pulse through the floor. The hall came alive at his presence. One of the screens floated toward him, glowing with pale blue light. "Touch it," the old man instructed. Ray reached out. The moment his fingers brushed the screen, it flashed with bright color. Images appeared across its surface, shifting quickly then slowing. Ray saw himself walking paths he had not walked yet. He saw his curiosity guiding him through challenges. He saw himself asking questions others avoided. He saw tools in his hands, not real tools but tools of understanding, patterns, logic and awareness. The images faded, leaving a faint glow. "This screen reflects your inner leanings," the old man said. "But now you must go deeper. Intent must be shaped, not discovered. If you let your life drift, you will build something weak. If you design it with clarity, you will build something strong." Another screen drifted toward Ray, this one glowing warm orange. When Ray touched it, the surface rippled. The image showed him surrounded by people, each one working together, guiding and helping each other. He stood among them, not above them, yet he held something important in his hands like a guiding light. Ray blinked. I do not know what this means. It means you are drawn not only to understanding but to improving the world around you, the old man answered. But do not decide too quickly. The screens show possibilities, not commands, Ray nodded. His heart felt heavier but also fuller. The third screen approached, glowing green. Ray touched it and felt a sudden shift, as if the screen reached into him. He saw flashes of moments where he had acted on impulse, acted from fear, acted from confusion. Then he saw moments where he had paused, reflected, and chosen with clarity. The difference between the two paths stretched wide like two different worlds. Ray pulled his hand away, trembling slightly. These screens show me too much, he whispered. The old man stepped closer. They show what you must understand before designing your direction. You cannot build a strong structure on a weak foundation. This hall reveals your tendencies so you can shape them into principles. Ray exhaled slowly, then a deep sound filled the hall like distant thunder. The columns of light flickered. The screens trembled gently. Ray turned sharply. What is happening? A new screen drifted toward him, but this one looked unlike the others. Its surface was dark, swirling like smoke trapped behind glass. Faint sparks flashed, then vanished. Ray felt his chest tighten when he sensed the same cold presence he had felt from the dark year earlier. The old man's expression grew solemn. This is the screen of potential failure, he said quietly. You must face it before designing your path. Ray hesitated. I do not want to see it, which is why you must, the old man replied. Ray touched the dark screen. A cold jolt shot through him. The surface erupted with images sharp and painful. He saw himself building a life without clarity, drifting from one thing to another, pushed by fear instead of purpose. He saw relationships he cared about strained because he avoided truth. He saw opportunities passing by like birds he never reached for. Worst of all, he saw himself older, empty and confused, wondering how his life had become something he never wanted. Ray stumbled back. His breath shook. His hands trembled. The old man steadied him with a firm hand. Do not fear what you see. The screen shows what happens when you build without direction. But you came here to choose differently. Ray tried to breathe calmly, though the images burned in his mind. He looked at the old man. How do I avoid that? You design your life, the old man answered. You create principles that guide every decision the way a compass guides a traveler. Principles give structure to chaos. They turn dreams into actions. Ray looked around the hall. The screens slowly drifted back into silence, as if they sensed his mind growing steadier. Another doorway formed at the far end of the hall, glowing with warm gold light. The old man pointed toward it. Behind that doorway lies the forge of principles, the old man said. There you will shape the rules that will guide your life. Ray swallowed, though determination started to rise inside him. He stepped toward the doorway, feeling each step pull him farther from fear and closer to intention, but just before he reached the doorway, a sudden gust of cold wind rushed through the hall. The dark screen flickered violently. A crack of shadow split across its surface. Ray froze. The shadow from the screen slid toward the doorway like a thin hand stretching outward, trying to follow him. Ray stared in disbelief, and the shadow moved again, creeping closer as if it did not want him to learn the next lesson. The mirror of radical truth. The soft glow of dawn spread across the valley like a warm sigh, and for the first time in many seasons Orion felt rested. The school had changed him. Not through discipline or complex teachings, but through small revelations that kept unfolding like hidden petals in a strange flower. He no longer walked with the same unsure step. He felt sharper, steadier, and yet there was something ahead that tugged at him. A lesson he sensed would not be gentle. He followed the stone path down toward a circular clearing he had never seen before. It was surrounded by tall, whispering trees whose leaves shimmered with light even though no breeze touched them. At the center was a massive mirror planted upright into the earth. Its frame was rough and made from some kind of black stone that seemed to drink in the sunlight. The mirror surface glowed like living water. Irinder stood there waiting with both hands behind his back. His robe was darker today, almost storm-colored. Orion felt tension on his skin, as if the air itself had changed. Irinder tilted his head. You have learned how to see the world with clearer eyes. Today you learn how to see yourself. Not the version you show others. Not the one you want to believe in. But the one that acts, the one that hides, the one that fears. Orion swallowed and walked closer. The mirror rippled. He expected to see his reflection, but instead he saw scenes floating in the glowing surface like memories trapped inside water. He saw himself rushing decisions, causing mistakes, ignoring advice, pretending he understood things he did not. He saw himself swelling with pride whenever he was right. He saw himself shrinking when challenges rose into giants before him. Each scene stung like a blade made of truth. Irinder spoke softly. This is the mirror of radical truth. Everyone who seeks mastery must face it. Although most turn away at the first sting, Orion wanted to turn away too. His chest tightened. His throat locked. The mirror kept showing moments he wanted buried. Times when he had spoken carelessly and hurt someone without knowing. Times when he blamed others for his own lack of preparation. Times he pretended he was following logic when he was following fear. You said the truth sets us free, Orion whispered. But this feels like chains tightening around me. The truth does not bind you, Irinder replied. Your refusal to acknowledge it binds you. Truth is a blade that first wounds, then cleans, then shapes. You cannot improve what you will not see. The mirror changed again. Now it showed the future if Orion continued avoiding discomfort. A life of constant confusion. A path drifting in circles. A mind clouded with excuses. It felt cold like winter reaching through the reflection and touching his heart. Orion stepped back. No. I do not want that. Then change, Irinder said. How face what you hide from? The trees fell silent. Even the shimmering leaves held their breath. Orion inhaled and forced himself to stand still before the mirror. He let the scenes play. He let the moments he hated show themselves. Shame rose like smoke, but he did not run. He watched. And in watching he began to understand something. Every mistake carried a message. Every failure held a path. Every weakness was a door he had never opened. The pain was not punishment but direction. He leaned closer until the glowing surface touched the tip of his nose. Suddenly the reflection shifted. Now he saw a different version of himself. Taller, stronger, calmer. His posture straight. His eyes bright like someone who knew himself fully. Someone who did not fear feedback or criticism. Someone who used truth like a compass. Orion reached toward it. His fingers touched the surface and it rippled around them like warm water. This is who you could become, Irinder said, if you stop protecting a fragile image and start building a resilient self. The words sank deep. Orion looked at the stronger reflection and whispered. How do I become him? The mirror stilled. Through radical truth, Irinder said. And through radical openness. The clearing brightened as if the trees themselves approved. Irinder approached and placed a hand on Orion's shoulder. When you speak, seek truth, not comfort. When you listen, seek clarity, not validation. When you act, seek reality, not illusion. Orion nodded. But another weight pressed inside him. What about others? People hide behind illusions all the time. What happens when truth hurts them? Irinder studied him with a slow, patient gaze. Truth delivered with cruelty wounds. Truth delivered with care transforms. Your task is not to destruct. Your task is to illuminate. Radical truth is not about being harsh. It is about being honest with compassion. Orion felt the difference like warmth rising through his chest, but Irinder added, there is one more test. The air thickened. Orion's pulse quickened. The mirror darkened until it became a swirling black pool. Irinder motioned toward it. Step inside. Orion froze. Inside the mirror the surface no longer looked like water. It looked like a hole carved into the world. A drop and he would fall into endless nothing. I cannot, you can. And you must. Why to face the hardest truth of all? Orion's breath shook. Irinder met his eyes. The truth of who you truly are when everything you cling to is stripped away. The trees rustled now with a strange low sound like distant thunder. The ground vibrated lightly. Orion stepped closer to the swirling darkness. Each step felt like pushing through thick mud. His heart hammered against his ribs. His palms grew damp. The mirror hummed with energy. He extended a foot. The surface curled around his boot like smoke reaching for him. He hesitated. Irinder's voice carried through the clearing like a quiet wind. If you turn away now, you will spend your life running from the shadows inside you. Step forward and you will never fear your own reflection again. Orion shut his eyes. He took one last breath and stepped fully into the mirror. The world shattered into fragments of light. His senses stretched, pulled, twisted. He felt weightless and heavy at the same time, as if falling and rising through invisible layers. Whispers filled the air, though he saw no one. Whispers of doubt. Whispers of guilt. Whispers of failures and fears he had buried. He stumbled through the swirling darkness until a faint glow appeared ahead. A soft pulsing sphere of warm light. He approached it slowly. And as he drew closer, he realized the light appeared to be a shape. A figure. It was him. A younger version. Smaller. Frightened. Eyes wide with the belief that he was not enough. That the world was too big. That he must pretend to be stronger than he felt. Orion crouched. "Why are you here?" the younger self whispered. "You never listened to me. You tried to bury me. But I am the part of you that fears failure. The part that chokes when truth hits too hard. I am the reason you avoid the mirror." Pain stung Orion's throat. He remembered that younger self well. The doubts. The fear of being judged. The fear of disappointing others. The fear of being seen. "What am I supposed to do with you?" Orion whispered. The younger self looked at him with trembling eyes. "Take me with you. Do not fight me. Do not hide me. Accept me." The darkness pulsed around them like a living heartbeat. Orion extended his hand. The younger self took it. They merged into a single glow that wrapped around Orion like a warm cloak. For the first time he felt whole. Not flawless. Not perfect. But full. Integrated. The mirror world brightened until everything became white, and then he was back in the clearing, stumbling onto solid ground. Irinder watched him with calm, steady eyes. "You have faced yourself. You are ready for the next principle." But before Orion could ask what that was, the ground under the mirror cracked with a deep echoing sound, like the beginning of something immense and dangerous stirring below, and the mirror itself began to tremble. The engines of thought. The earth shuddered again beneath Orion's boots, as if something ancient was waking under the clearing. The black-framed mirror shook with a low rumble that felt alive and hungry. Orion stepped back out of instinct, but Irinder lifted a calming hand. Do not fear this. It is not an enemy. It is the turning of a deeper gear inside your mind. The mirror has shown you truth. Now you must learn how to think with it. Before Orion could speak, the trembling stopped. The clearing returned to stillness, but a faint silver mist began to creep from the cracks in the soil. It curled around Orion's ankles and rose slowly until it reached his waist and then his shoulders. Instead of feeling cold, it felt warm, like the breath of some gentle creature wrapping itself around him. Irinder gestured for him to follow as he stepped through the mist. It parted around them like a curtain and revealed a long stone staircase leading downward. Orion hesitated only a moment before descending beside him. The steps wound in a slow spiral. The deeper they walked, the brighter the air became until it shimmered with a soft gold glow. Orion realized they were not entering darkness but light. A chamber waited at the bottom, carved into the earth like a giant bowl. Crystal plates floated in the air, spinning slowly like moons caught in gentle orbit. Each crystal contained moving images, words, symbols, patterns, strands of light flowing through them like living rivers. Orion stared with wide eyes. "What is this place?" Irinder stepped to the center of the chamber. "This is the engine hall. A place where thoughts become visible and understanding takes shape." The crystals hummed. Orion sensed that each one held a piece of something bigger. Complex ideas broken down into simple glowing parts. Concepts turned into shapes and sounds and motion. Irinder held out his hand and one of the crystals drifted closer to him. Inside it, Orion saw a branching network of light lines splitting and recombining. Pathways forming endless shapes. "This is how great thinkers approach decisions," Irinder said. "By breaking things down into simple parts. By seeing patterns instead of chaos. By understanding cause and effect instead of guessing and hoping." The crystal floated toward Orion. He touched it lightly with his fingertips. The image inside shifted. Now he saw a branching path of choices he had made in the past. Each choice showing a ripple of consequences. He watched small causes grow into large effects and saw how minor decisions had led him towards success or hidden mistakes. He stepped back with a sharp breath. "This is overwhelming. It becomes easier when you rely on principles," Irinder said. "Clear rules you create for yourself. Principles turn chaos into clarity." They guide your choices no matter the situation. Orion looked around the hall. The crystals now moved faster, spinning in new patterns as if reacting to the conversation. One of them drifted near and showed a memory of Orion making a quick decision without thinking things through. Another crystal showed the same decision slowed down and split into simple steps. It revealed what he had missed. How he could have made a wiser choice. Irinder circled him slowly. You have been taught to face truth. But truth alone is not enough. You must combine it with thoughtful structure. You must design your thinking. Design my thinking, Orion repeated quietly. The phrase felt strange but powerful. Irinder tapped another crystal. Inside it, a series of glowing shapes moved like gears turning inside a clock. This is what we call a system. Everything in life is made of systems. Your health, your work, your relationships, your actions, your failures. Each follows patterns. If you learn to see the patterns, you can shape them. Orion reached toward the spinning shapes. When he touched them, they slowed and revealed smaller parts inside them. Simpler gears. Tiny strands of light connecting each one. He realized he was not seeing a machine. He was seeing how his own mind processed difficult situations. How he reacted when he was stressed. How he planned when he was calm. How he learned new things. How he repeated mistakes. Irinder's voice echoed gently across the chamber. Most people let their minds run wild. They react without understanding why. They make choices without learning from the last ones. But masters build thinking machines inside themselves. Systems they can rely on even when they are tired, afraid, or confused. Orion watched the gears inside the crystal and suddenly noticed something strange. One gear was spinning the wrong way. It was pushing against the others and slowing everything down. What is that? A bad habit, Irinder said. A belief or reaction that does not serve you. Everyone has gears that spin in the wrong direction. The goal is not to remove them. The goal is to identify them, adjust them, and build principles that prevent them from disrupting the whole system. Orion felt a sinking warmth in his chest as he recognized the gear. It represented the way he avoided asking questions when he did not understand something. Pride disguised as confidence. Fear disguised as competence. That gear had slowed him in many moments of his life. He reached toward the crystal again. The gears shifted under his fingers. The wrong spinning gear loosened and repositioned itself. It no longer pushed against the system. It aligned with it. The crystal glowed brighter. Irinder nodded with approval. You are starting to understand. When you break complex things into simple parts, you gain control. You reduce confusion. You become the architect of your own decisions. Orion turned slowly, taking in the entire hall. He felt as if he were inside his own mind, watching the inner workings of his thoughts. And now he knew he could change them. Improve them. Strengthen them. But Irinder was not finished. One more lesson waits here, he said. He motioned toward the far end of the chamber where a massive crystal spun faster than all the others. Its light was blue and silver, twisting like a storm trapped in a sphere. Orion felt its pull from across the hall. A pressure on his skin, a vibration in his ribs. That is the decision engine, Irinder said. The heart of the chamber. It shows not what you have done but what you believe. Orion stepped closer and the sphere reacted instantly. Lightning lines of light shot across its surface, forming symbols he had never seen. The air hummed. As he approached, the storm inside the crystal intensified. Images formed and dissolved faster than he could follow. It showed desires he did not fully admit. Fears he barely recognized. Biases. Assumptions. Expectations. Shadows and lights interwoven. This is too powerful, Orion said quietly, and that is why you must face it, Irinder replied. A person is shaped more by their hidden beliefs than by their actions. Until you understand what you believe deeply, you cannot build strong principles. Orion took another step. The sphere throbbed like a beating heart. Then it split open with a flash of silver light, revealing a tunnel of swirling symbols and shifting visions. The pull grew stronger. He turned to Irinder. What happens if I enter it? Irinder's expression grew unreadable. Then you will see the structure of your own beliefs. But be warned. Many who enter are not ready for what they discover. Beliefs can fracture. They can reshape you. They can break illusions you depend on. Orion stared at the swirling tunnel. He felt the air vibrating as if urging him to step inside. He swallowed hard. And if I do not enter, then your thinking system will remain incomplete, Arinder said. You will have truth without belief. Structure without purpose. Orion's pulse hammered through his body. The sphere's glow intensified. The tunnel inside twisted like a living thing. He took a breath. He stepped forward, but before his foot touched the storm, a voice echoed from deep within the chamber. A voice Orion had never heard. A voice that did not sound human at all. Stop. He is not ready. The entire hall flickered with sudden darkness. The sphere snapped shut, and Arinder's face changed in a way that chilled Orion's blood. The door of inner knowing. The chamber fell silent after the strange voice echoed through it. Not a single crystal moved. The air froze as if time itself had stopped to listen. Orion stood with his hand half raised toward the storm sphere, his breath locked inside his chest. He turned slowly toward Arinder, expecting guidance, but what he saw instead unsettled him. Arinder's eyes no longer held their usual calm depth. They looked distant, shadowed, as if he were listening to something Orion could not hear. His jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. A tension Orion had never seen in him before rippled across his face. Arinder, what was that voice? Arinder did not answer right away. His gaze flicked toward the storm sphere, then toward the luminous crystals hanging above them like captured moons. When he finally spoke, his voice was softer than usual. There are forces within this hall that guard the deepest parts of the mind. Forces older than any teaching. Older than me. Older than this school. They awaken only when someone approaches the boundary between understanding and unraveling. Orion felt a cold pulse crawl along his spine. The voice had not sounded hostile, but it had carried weight and warning woven together. As if it had seen something inside him that even he had not. Why did it say, I am not ready? Arinder slowly placed a hand on the storm sphere. The surface hissed at his touch like a living thing. Because the decision engine shows not only your beliefs, it transforms them. And transformation can collapse what is not yet strong enough to survive itself. Orion looked at the closed storm sphere. The swirling tunnel was gone, but he felt its pull lingering like a memory that refused to fade. Then how do I become ready? Arinder turned to him with an expression that mixed concern and pride. You must know yourself fully. Not your fears, not your habits, not even your principles. But the deepest voice inside you. The one that speaks when the world grows quiet. Orion frowned. I do not know that voice. That is why you are not ready, Arinder said. But you will be. He motioned for Orion to follow him toward the far wall of the chamber. As they walked, the floating crystals moved aside, opening a path. Their gentle hum softened into a low harmonic tone that vibrated through Orion's chest. The path led to a stone archway carved with swirling shapes that looked like waves or wind or perhaps thoughts themselves. Beyond the arch was not another room but a shifting veil of golden light. It pulsed like a heartbeat in slow rhythm. Arinder stood before it. This is the door of inner knowing. Every seeker must pass through it before they can enter the decision engine. Inside this door lies a place shaped by your own mind. It reveals not memories and not dreams but the foundation beneath them. The core of who you truly are. Orion felt the air change. The veil of golden light rippled in response to his breathing as if aware of him. Will you come with me? No, Arinder said gently. This path must be walked alone. But know this. The door will not harm you. It will only show you the truth that already exists inside you. Orion looked at the glowing veil. A quiet hum filled his ears, a low soft tone that soothed and frightened him at once. He felt as if the light were looking back at him. What will I find inside? Arinder's lips curved in a faint smile. Whatever you have been avoiding. Orion's pulse quickened. He remembered the mirror of radical truth. The younger self buried inside him. The gears of the decision engine showing habits he had ignored. This new door felt like all those lessons woven into one final challenge. The golden veil flickered brighter. A warm pressure tugged him forward like a gentle hand on his back. Arinder stepped aside. Face what lies within and return with clarity. Then you will be ready for anything the engine hall holds. Orion took a slow breath. The light shimmered as if inhaling with him. He stepped through the veil, the world vanished, soft emptiness surrounded him. Not dark and not bright. A weightless nothingness like floating inside a warm cloud. His feet found no ground, but he did not fall. He simply existed. Then the space began to take shape. Color gathered from all directions, soft blue, soft green, soft gold, and swirled around him until it spun into a familiar landscape. His childhood home. The small quiet valley with its slow river and gentle hills. He saw the wooden house. The worn path. The old garden fence leaning slightly to one side. A breeze touched his face. He felt younger for a moment. Lighter, but as he stepped forward he realized something strange. The valley was silent. No animals. No rustling leaves. No flowing water. Everything was still, as if someone had painted the world and forgotten to add sound. He moved toward the river. The surface was smooth like polished glass. When he knelt and touched it, the reflection staring back at him was not himself. It was the younger version he had merged with inside the mirror. The child looked up with wide, earnest eyes. You came back. Orion's chest tightened. Why am I here? The child stood on the glass-like river surface without sinking. This is the place you return to when you doubt yourself. The place where your fears are born. The place you think you left behind but still carry inside you. Orion rose to his feet. The valley shimmered slightly around them as if made of memory and light. He looked at the child's face and felt the sting of recognition. The quiet fear. The uncertainty. The longing to understand the world and his place in it. What do I need to learn here? The child tilted his head. What do you believe about yourself? Orion hesitated. His mind searched for strong, confident answers, but none came. The valley did not demand logic or analysis. It wanted truth. I believe I am still learning, Orion said slowly. I believe I am not as strong as I want to be. I believe I want answers faster than I earn them. The child nodded. That is good. But what do you believe when no one is watching? When you fail? When you feel lost? Orion's throat tightened. The valley grew brighter as if waiting. He forced himself to speak honestly. I believe I am afraid of never being enough. Afraid of disappointing others. Afraid of my own limitations. The child stepped closer. Then you must understand this. Being enough is not something you feel. It is something you decide. The word struck Orion with unexpected force. Deep and simple at once. The valley rippled with warm light as if the land approved. How do I decide that? By knowing the truth of who you are, the child said. And the truth is this. You are not the fear. You are the one who walks through it. A soft wind finally stirred the valley, carrying faint sounds. Birds began to sing. The river sighed. Leaves rustled. The world awakened. Orion felt something inside him unlock. Not a lesson and not a principle, but a certainty. A steady place in his chest that he had never felt before. The deepest voice Arinder spoke of. The quiet center beneath everything else. The child smiled. Now you are ready. The valley dissolved into golden light. Orion stepped forward and emerged from the veil into the engine hall. The crystals hummed again. The air brightened. His head felt clearer than ever before. Arinder watched him with a knowing gaze. You have found your inner knowing, Orion. Now the decision engine will open to you. But before Orion could answer, the storm sphere pulsed violently with silver light as if something inside it had been waiting for him. Thank you for listening to this chapter of our story-driven audiobook journey. Before you go, I'd love to know. Which book should we transform into a cinematic tale next? Drop your suggestion in the comments. And if you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button and subscribe to Momentum Mind and turn on the notifications so you never miss the next chapter.